Okay, so I grew up in Singapore, and every time I fly Singapore Airlines, I always walk past the first class seat, the business class seat, all the way to the back of the plane for my economy class seat. And I promised myself one day I'm gonna earn enough money to fly on Singapore Airlines first class. I do not earn enough money to fly on Singapore Airlines first class. In fact, I'm still leeching off my parents' family phone plan. But this is Singapore Airlines first class. Thank you. Today I'm flying out of Tokyo Narita International Airport back to Los Angeles after having a 3-day stopover here in Japan. Absolutely amazing country, highly recommend, 10 out of 10. After checking in and spending an hour on the observation deck, I decided to head to the lounge. Singapore Airlines do not have their own lounge here at Narita Airport but uses the ANA lounge. Since I'm flying first class today, I have access to the ANA Suite Lounge, which is located just beside their business one. Entering the suite lounge, there is this beautiful marble hallway into the main sitting area. On the left, we have a coffee and espresso machine, a self-serving beer tap, and top-shelf liquor that will make any college kid jealous. There are also some cakes, a salad bar, and some Japanese dessert and pastries. The pickled plum rice balls were really good. Just past that is the dedicated kitchen that offers some simple Japanese dishes such as ramen, curry, and sushi. You can either order at the window or through their website. Continuing forward, this lounge offers ample sitting and is really chill and quiet, which is how a premium lounge should be, unlike some other airline lounges that get ridiculously crowded and noisy, Delta Sky Club. But yeah, more importantly, it offers great view of the tarmac, and this is where I settled and ordered some sushi. To me, they tasted as good as any restaurants in downtown Tokyo. After a while, I spotted the 777 that I'll be boarding, taxiing to the gate. It has just arrived from Singapore and will continue its journey to LA after a quick stop. With that, it is my signal to get ready to go, but before that, I'ma take a quick shower here at the lounge. Japan really have their bathrooms figured out. Like, apart from the bidet, the showers allow you to control the water temperature to exactly how you want them every time instantly when you turn on the faucet, like no guessing and waiting required. And of course, the shower room supplies you with quality soap, shampoo, and conditioner, as well as slippers, towels, and hygiene amenities. After a quick shower and all freshened up, it's time to head to the gate. Waiting for me is the Singapore Airlines Boeing 777-300ER, and it looks stunning in the Japanese sunset. After a few minutes, it's time to board. Hi. Thank you so much. That's all? Yes. Oh, thank you. Wow. Thank you so much. Alright, let's take a quick look around the seats. Being first class, there's a ridiculous amount of legroom, but there isn't any overhead bins, so luggage and carry-ons must be placed under the footwell. In front, we have a huge 24-inch in-flight entertainment display. It is not touchscreen though, but being that far, you're not gonna touch it. Beside that, we have a small vanity mirror, and under that, a compartment for me to kind of just shove all my camera gears in. On the right armrest, there is a small compartment that houses the in-flight entertainment control. We'll take a closer look at that later on. On the right wing of the seat, we have the seat controls, overhead lights, flight attendant call buttons, and do not disturb button. We have a place to place a headset, as well as the adjustable reading and ambient light. On the seat, we have a pillow made of the same leather as the seat, meaning it's really soft and comfy, but I think its main purpose is to make the seat feel less empty. On the left wing of the seat, we also have adjustable reading and ambient lights. On the left armrest, we have this little compartment for you to put your valuables as well as USB charging ports. Extending from the left armrest, we have a spot to put our drinks as well as universal charging plugs. The tray table actually pulls out from under the IFE by pushing a button underneath it. It is really big and sturdy, which is pretty important judging by the amount of food that is to come. You can also adjust the height by pushing this button here. I don't know what was wrong with me at that time, but somehow I didn't find it very intuitive to use, so I just kind of pushed both buttons at once and wang jangled it in place for takeoff. Speaking of takeoff, I should probably finish my Krug. And ooh, that is really good. The Bang & Olufsen headset provided was exceptional, and it was extremely comfortable to wear. Since it doesn't fully cup over the ears, it provides little passive noise cancelling, but it has great active noise cancelling, which more than makes up for it. Not gonna lie, I was very tempted to take them off the plane, but I didn't, so well done me. Taking a look at the IFE, the screen is huge and vibrant, a little bit reflective, but nothing distracting. There are loads of movies, TV shows, games, and music to choose from. Only complaint, the interactive flight map took forever to load. And that's not exaggerating. It simply did not load for me. I could have requested a flight attendant to reset the entire IFE, but I didn't bother since I already have set my eyes on the show I want to watch, The Last of Us. Great game, great show. Soon, after the pilots turned off the seatbelt sign, the meal service began. Dinner started with chicken satay, a staple for Singapore Airlines first class. It's basically chicken skewers marinated in a ton of different spices, and it was amazing. The satay was sweet and savory with a bit of ginger aftertaste. The peanut sauce was, oh my gosh, it's spicy and sweet and nutty, absolutely amazing. I finished the satay in a minute and waited for the actual appetizer, caviar. It came with a wedge of lemon, green onion, creme fraiche, blinis, egg whites, and egg yolk, which was separated because, you can't have the egg whites and egg yolks together. It's just too uncouth. I don't know. Anyway, after putting a little bit of everything on a mini pancake, I popped it in my mouth. It was actually my first time having caviar, and it was heavenly. Like, I didn't even bother to look at a camera, and I just went on and made myself another one. Caviar egg just pops in my mouth, releasing pure saltiness and umami, and paired with condiments, so good. And washing it down with a sip of 2008 Krug Grand Cuvée. Oh, I can get used to this. As if caviar and champagne were not fancy enough, I got the lobster thermidor for my main course. Getting to eat lobster 35,000 feet off the ground isn't something I do every day. Heck, eating lobster 6 feet off the ground isn't something I do every day. Mainly because I'm only 5'10", but that's beside the point. Now, the lobster. It looked amazing, smelled amazing, and tasted amazing. The sauce was rich and creamy, and with the boiled carrots and potato, it's, well, amazing. And of course, more Krug. Moving on to dessert, you can choose to have either a lava cake, a cheese plate, or some fresh fruits. Or you can just get all three of them. First, the lava cake. This is where I ran into a bit of an issue. You see, when cutting open a lava cake, the chocolate inside is supposed to ooze out like lava, thus the name. Mine oozed out like a rock. As in, it didn't ooze out at all. I think it wasn't warmed up enough, but it tasted great and didn't bother me. The cake was fluffy and soft. You can really taste the chocolate flavor, and it's not drowned by just sweetness like most American desserts. And combined with some ice cream and raspberry, amazing. Up next, the cheese plate. It has camembert, pepper jack, cheddar, and Gouda, and comes with crackers, walnuts, dried apricots, and grapes. And let me tell you, that grape was the best grape I've ever had. I bit into it and I was genuinely surprised by it. It was extremely sweet, but it wasn't squishy like an overly ripe grape. The rest of the cheese plate was alright. But the grapes though, Up next is fresh fruit. Not as good as the grapes. Oh, and we're done with dinner. After inhaling all that food, I feel I gotta take a walk. And so I walked 3 steps to the first class lavatory. There are 2 lavatories for all 4 first class passengers. That's some really good toilet to passenger ratio. There are both paper and linen towels as well as tissues for drying. some face mist and lotions, and some amenities hidden here in the drawer. It has razors, lip balms, combs, toothbrush, and other hygiene amenities. Here we have a baby changing table, another huge mirror, and an orchid, the national flower of Singapore. It looks really real until you touch it. Below that is just a regular toilet you find on any other plane, and behind that is a foldable table that also acts as a bench. It comes in really handy to change into the provider pajamas, also from LAX. But that's the lavatory. Let's also take a look at some other amenities provided from LAX. In a giant leather amenity bag, there is a bottle of face mist, lip balm, lotion, a really cool cologne with a wooden cap, a little pouch to keep all of those in, and an eye mask. Overall, it is still a really good collection of amenities which I will keep as souvenirs. While I was changing in the lavatory, the first class flight attendant came around and turned my giant seat into a giant bed. Apparently I could not do it myself, as the entire backrest flops forward and becomes the bed. With 2 extra pillows and a thick blanket, that was the turn-down service. Needless to say, the bed was really big and really wide and felt like a twin-size bed in the sky. That's crazy. The bed, even with the mattress topper, is slightly on the firmer side, which I do personally prefer. The footwell goes in really deep, and since there's no one in front of me, it is super wide, and I don't have to cram my legs into a little cubby hole. And with that, it is time to get some sleep. That was some of the best sleep I've had on a plane. The bed was so wide that I could sleep in my normal sleeping posture, that is, on my stomach and with one leg forward. Which is apparently really bad for my spine, but man, it's comfy. I then went to change back into my regular clothes, and this time the in-flight manager came around and turned my bed back into a seat. And of course, the plush leather pillow stayed. Gotta have that. After a few minutes back into my seat, the flight attendant came and set my table for lunch. I know, right? There's more food. There's so much more food this time. However, this was a little special. Singapore Airlines really proud themselves of the in-flight food service. They had chefs from all over the world come to design the menu, and one notable one was the Japanese kyo kaiseki, which is a multi-course meal, and I really wanted to try that. However, looking through the menu, I actually preferred the kyo kaiseki designed for dinner over the one for lunch. I mean, no disrespect to the chef, but I just liked the ingredients more, and it contained a lot more dish that I had not seen or tried before. And so I requested to have that for lunch instead, and the flight attendant happily obliged. First is the sakizuk as well as the myokozuk. These are just an assortment of appetizers. Next is the futamono, which is a wagyu sirloin soup. Next is the yakimono, the shikazana, the konomono, as well as the tomwan and the gohan. And finally, we have the mizugashi, which is orange jelly. Eating this was an experience. Each dish was beautifully plated. The taste and texture of a lot of dishes was something I've never experienced before. All the food was really bland, and I mean it in a good way. It is not bland from eating it at such a high altitude, but it almost doesn't have any spices or seasoning added to them to really bring out the natural flavor of each ingredient. I actually had to constantly refer back to the menu to see what I was eating because they each had a really unique texture and taste and was really new to me. And of course, I ended the meal with a cup of coffee latte. Not traditionally Japanese, but definitely necessary. And with that, my 10-hour first class flight is almost over. But do you know what's better than a 10-hour first class flight? A 10-hour first class flight that only costs $45. Okay, that's a little bit of a clickbait. It was $45 in taxes and fees and some credit card points, which I transferred to Chris Flyer Miles to book this flight. Since this is still a new channel, I'm not 100% sure where I want the channel's direction to go. It will either be all about traveling from mile to mile in first and business class, or I can branch out on how I earned and turned those credit card miles into extra miles. Anyway, do let me know in the comment section below if you want to learn how I actually booked this ticket that will otherwise cost me around $5,000 to $9,000 depending on the day. Since this does touch on credit cards and personal finance, please be responsible and do not spend more than you should. But otherwise, I'm gonna finish my coffee and watch the descent into Los Angeles. As we started our final approach into LAX, I got a bit emotional. This was my first time experiencing a full-fledged international first class, and I got to do it with Singapore Airlines, one of the best in the world. Younger me will never actually believe that I will be able to enjoy such a luxury. There's a huge jump in price between business class and first class, and most of that goes to the food and services. You get much better quality of food and drinks, and you have a dedicated flight attendant. I never had to wait more than a minute for my plate to be cleared or the next course to be served or ask for a refill on my drinks. Everything was well thought out, and there was a huge attention to detail, except my chocolate rock cake, but I'm sure that's a small outlier. However, the main selling point of first class is the seat. It is much wider than the business class ones. In business class, you can lie down on the seat and get some rest, but in first class, you can lie down on what becomes a bed and get some really good sleep. Am I now kind of spoiled after having a taste of the good life? Maybe. Is this the best first class in the sky? No. I mean, it's not even the best first class in Singapore Airlines. That belongs to the first class suites in the A380s, which I can only dream of flying. And until then, happy travel.